you need to know about how to find and land a higher paying job offer in the next 30 days or less. That's what I'm going to be doing. So I want you to stick with me. Again, what I'm going to show you is over the next 30 days, how if you follow what I'm going to be sharing with you, you're going to be able to land a higher paying job in 30 days or less, guaranteed, if you just follow exactly what I'm sharing with you. Okay? Let me tell you just a little bit about, give me 1 second, I'm going to get this going here. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through 4 things, right? Number 1, I'm going to show you how to create a resume that gets the attention of hiring managers and recruiters. That's first. Because if you're applying to jobs and your resume does not attract the attention of hiring managers and recruiters, and they don't see what they want to see, you're not going to get interviews. Okay? And if you can't get interviews, you can't get offers. I want you to stay to the end. This is going to be 60 minutes. Stay to the end because I'm going to show you how to get $2,000 to $10,000 more from every job offer you get, written job offer you get, by sending one simple email. Okay? Now, before we get started, as we get started, just type in, where are you watching from? Where in the world are you watching from? If it's in the US, city, state. If it's a country, tell me where you are, what city you're from, and then we're going to get started. There's 4 things I'm going to cover today. Okay? 4. Number 1, I'm going to talk to you about your resume, what the resume is and what the resume is not. Okay? Most people think the resume is one thing, but it's not that. Okay? In 2026, everything has changed, and I'm going to tell you why it has changed. Okay? We're going to start off with that. Now, for those of you who don't know me, right, you just kind of scrolling through and you see this content. I've been in talent acquisition and recruiting as a leader for 35 years. I've seen every imaginable scenario that you are going to go through as a candidate, and I'm the one that develops the entire life, the higher life cycle in the organizations that I work for. Everything from how you apply to jobs through the applicant tracking systems and job postings on job boards, to how your resume is positioned and given to the hiring managers, all the way through to scheduling interviews, getting offers, getting you through the HRIS system, onboarded, and getting started on day 1. So I create and build the entire higher life cycle. So I'm going to be sharing some behind the scenes secrets with you that's going to help you land a job that's paying more than you've ever made before in 30 days or less if you follow it. Okay, so we're going to start off by talking about the resume, your resume. Okay, now I'm going to tell you what the resume is not. Okay, a lot of people think the resume is a a document with historical chronological information that shows a hiring manager what you've done in the past, right? It used to be that. It's not that anymore. Okay, I'm going to tell you what your resume is, and if you want to get more interviews, you're going to have to understand this about your resume. So I don't want you to think about your resume as just something that you add when you do an application. All right? Your resume, and I want you to really, really think about this, it's a marketing document. Okay? You are advertising yourself as the solution for a hiring manager. That's what a resume is. It's not just a document that shows the work history that you've done over the course of the past 5 to 20 years, right? If you do not position your resume and show hiring managers that you are the solution to their problem over the course of the interview process, you're not going to get an interview. Hiring managers are looking for something very specific to make them say, yes, I want to interview this person, and that leads to higher paying job offers. If they don't see what they want to see the moment they pick up your resume, they're not going to call you. You can keep doing the exact same thing. Okay, you can keep submitting the exact same resume the same way. No one is going to call you, I'm telling you, because it's a marketing document. Now, I'm going to prove to you, because you do the same thing when you are looking for jobs. Okay, I'm going to prove to you that this is the case. And I learned this a long time ago. All right, 20 plus years ago. When you are looking for a job, there are 4 specific things you want to know about this job before you Press apply. Now, when I started in the early 90s, the way you got to me is you had to call, right? It was a phone call. So I knew if I didn't answer these 4 questions for you, you would not call me, right? At the company I was working for. So what are those 4 things that you want to know before you apply to a job? Number 1, what is this job doing? I see the job title, but what is this job actually doing? You want to know that. The second thing you want to know is, where is this job located? I don't want to have to commute 3 hours one way, right? That's what you're thinking. You are thinking that before you press apply. That's what you're thinking. And then the third thing you want to know is, what does this job pay? Because if the pay is too low, I'm not going to apply to this job, right? And then the final thing is, you want to know, if I apply to this job, what are my chances of getting an interview? And what are my chances of getting a job offer? That speaks to how long has this job been open and how many jobs are there actually open, right? That's what it speaks to. Those are the 4 things you want to know. In the early 90s, when I was started in recruiting, no one would call us if that information wasn't present. So I learned that from you. How did I learn it? Well, if I got you to call, you were asking me these questions. Well, what is the job doing? Where is it located? How much does it pay? Before you decided to come into the office and apply to the job. So I was answering that question over and over and over again for candidates. So I decided I'm going to change how I post positions. I'm going to add these 4 components. And then candidates were just calling and asking if they can come in for an interview. Okay? Hiring managers are the same way. If you want hiring managers to call you, if you want them to literally chase you down so they can interview you, you have to answer the 3 questions they need answered before they even give you a call. If you answer these 3 questions for them, you will never ever have to worry about whether somebody's going to call you or not, ever. This will change everything. So what are those 3 things that hiring managers want to know? The same way, remember, just like you, right? You wanted to know those 4 things. This is what hiring managers are looking for the moment they take a look at your resume, okay? I want you to think about it like it's an ad. Your resume is like an ad, an advertisement. Remember, I said it's a marketing document. Number 1, the moment they pick your resume up, they're asking themselves, what does this person do? Right? So they're looking at your job title. What does this person do? And they're thinking about their job. This is what I need someone to do. What do they do? Okay? The second thing they want to know is, okay, I see what they do. How long have they done it? Because they know if they can train, if they have time to train someone or they don't. Every candidate falls into 3 categories when it comes to experience. This is how we place you in a category. You're in one of these 3 buckets. You're either entry level, that's 0 to 4 years experience, mid-level, 5 to 9 years experience, or you're senior level, 10 or more years experience. We know if you're entry level, we have to spend extra time training you. If you are mid-level, we don't have to spend as much time, but we are not comfortable giving you the entire job on day 1. You'll still need some tweaking and adjusting with respect to how we do things. If you have 10 or more years experience, we consider you to be senior level. On day 1, we can give you the entire department, the entire job. We can give everything to you. You can walk right in the door and start getting to work on it. There's no training that's needed. We know that. Okay, so you have to tell hiring managers how many years you've been doing it, because that's what's going to help us to understand if we need to call you now or not. The third thing we want to know is, what you do, how long you've done it, and the third thing is, how good are you at doing it? So here's what we're looking for when we're trying to figure out how good you are. We're looking for quantifiable proof of value, evidence that shows us how much of something you've done, right? Numbers, percentages, revenue generated, cost savings, That's what we're looking for when we pick up your resume. So just like that job ad, if it doesn't answer those 4 questions for you, you're not going to call because you think it's a waste of your time. Hiring managers won't call you because when they look at your resume, they don't see what they want to see, and they think calling you is a waste of time. So they don't call you. I'm telling you what I know. Okay? So you need to fix that if you want to get more calls that lead to higher paying job offers. If you don't change this, nothing's going to change. It's completely up to you. You can do whatever you want. But if you don't fix your resume, nothing is going to change. Okay? Now, I'm going to walk you through what the resume should look like because this is what hiring managers want to see. If you think you need help with your resume, I will review your resume for free, and I will respond and tell you that whatever needs to be adjusted and fixed so you get more interviews and you get more offers. So if you want a free resume review, email me, daniel@dscds.com. Simply email me. Send me an email with your resume. I will take 100 people today, and I'll respond today and tell you what needs to be fixed, tweaked, or changed so you can get more interviews, okay? So those are the 3 things hiring managers want to know. Here's how your resume, that first page of your resume is the most important page. It tells the hiring manager everything they want to know about you, and it convinces them that you are the answer to their problem. By the way, hiring managers are going to select usually 3 to 4 people to interview. That's it. It's not going to be more than that. Okay, so how do you break through and become one of the 3 or 4 people that they interview? Okay, if your resume is positioned the way I'm about to share with you, it's going to be very easy for you to be a top person. All right. So remember, if you want me to do a free resume review, email me. I'll do your review for free today. All right. So top of the page, name, phone number, email, city, and state. Right? Needs to be there. We got to know where you live in terms of whether we can do business in that area or not from an employment perspective. Second thing needs to be what I just talked about, answering the 3 questions for the hiring manager. Your captivating headline, what you do, how long you've done it, how good you are at doing it. My captivating headline says, I'm a senior talent acquisition and recruiting leader with 35 years experience hiring 4,000 to 6,000 people per year annually for medium to large companies in the US. That's what hiring managers see the moment they pick up my resume. That's why I get so many calls. When I apply to jobs, that's why I get so many calls, because it answers their questions. Right beneath your captivating headline, I tell people you put a summary of accomplishments. That's the 10 biggest things you've accomplished in your career as it relates to the job that you're applying to. And it needs to be in bullet form. Can't be written like a paragraph. Okay? A one sentence bullet form summary of accomplishment. And then right after that, your areas of expertise. Where are you an expert? 10 bullets that show you an area. So that for me, that would be recruiting, job board management, applicant tracking system management, team management. I manage teams of up to 20 recruiters, right? I'll do national recruiting. And then I'll also talk about the industries that I'm an expert at recruiting in. All of those things are under my areas of expertise. Now, once a hiring manager sees those things right there, they are convinced without looking at my work history. They're convinced that I can do the job. They'll skim and scan through my work history just as confirmation, and then they will give me a call. If they're not calling you, if you're not getting phone calls, it's because no one sees what they want to see when they look at your resume. They think that it's going to waste their time, and they're not going to call you. Nothing's going to change. I'm telling you, it's not going to change. All right? So you have to understand that you are marketing yourself. I want you to think about the application process differently. You are simply marketing yourself and introducing yourself to as many hiring managers as you can, showing them the information they want to see so you can get in front of them and do an interview. You're not even going to get an interview. Now, let me explain to you how I know this. Years ago, I used to be a senior recruiter in a customer service call center, and I would talk to hiring managers about what they wanted in their department. The hiring manager would give me a very clear picture of who they wanted. I would then do the job posting, and you would start applying the jobs. I would interview you and say to myself, OMG, this person is perfect for this job. And I would take the resume that you sent to me and I would send it to the hiring manager. And the hiring manager would tell me, nah, I don't want to talk to this person. And I was like, what are you talking about? This person is perfect. And they were like, well, I don't see it. I said, what do you mean you don't see it? Right? And so, Dan, you're telling me that this person does this, but I don't see that. So my director at that time, a lady said to me, why don't you do a survey, send an email out to all the hiring managers asking them what they want, right? And I thought what she was saying was what they want in terms of the qualifications. No, she was saying what they want to see, right? So that's what I did. And they told me the 3 things that was most important to them and why, okay? So this is what I started doing over 25 years ago. When I interviewed you, I thought you were a perfect fit, I would say to you, okay, I'm going to submit you to interview for this job. But before I do, I'm going to rework your resume. I'm going to change it. Because if I sent your resume to the hiring manager like this, they're not going to want to talk to you. Okay, that's what I would tell candidates. So what I did is I would change people's resume. I'm not adding information. I'm not embellishing it. I'm just changing it so that it shows hiring managers what they wanted to see. Like if there were no percentages or numbers or anything like that, I would add that. And then what I would do is send it back to you and say, okay, this is what I changed. Is it accurate? And you would say, yes. And I would say, great. I would submit it to the hiring manager. I went from 2 out of every 10 candidates that I submitted to hiring managers, 2 out of 10 getting an interview, to 8 out of 10 getting an interview. I became one of the highest performing recruiters on staff because you can't even get your foot in the door if you don't show the hiring managers what they want to see. And that's what I learned. I thought they were rejecting me as a recruiter. I thought they didn't like me, right? Like Daniel's submitting these people. I don't like working with him anyway. You know what I mean? That's why I thought they were saying no to you, because of me, but that's not why they were saying no. They were saying no because I was not showing them on your resume what they wanted to see, and they weren't believing me when I told them that, okay? So I'm telling you, if you don't change your resume to show the hiring manager what they're looking for, no one's gonna give you a call. All right, we're at 421 likes. Everybody really quickly just take 10 seconds and tap the screen as fast as you can 30 times so we can get up to 5,000 likes. So if you want me to review your resume for free, like if you're submitting your resume and you're doing applications, but you are not getting interviews, like no one's calling you, or you're only getting couple. Talked to a guy yesterday, I'm sorry. He said he submitted 100 applications and got 4 interviews and he didn't know what was wrong. I said, that's a 4% success rate. Your resume stinks. There's no way you're gonna submit your resume to 100 jobs and you only get 4 calls. They didn't call you because they don't see what they wanna see. And if you keep doing that, they're not gonna call you back. I'm telling you what the problem is. Your resume is the ticket that gets your feet in the door in front of the hiring manager. Everything else is cool from there. But if you can't get in front of the hiring manager, I don't know what to tell you. This is what you have to do. So 100 people, if you want me to review your resume for free, I'll review it for free and respond today. Okay? And tell you, this needs to be changed. This needs to be fixed. Add this, remove that. And then you can fix it and you can start applying and get more. Now, there is an option in there for me to do it too if you want me to, but it's up to you. So I see Kim, Felicia, Donnell, Pam, and Seneca, and Brandon, you sent me your resume. Thank you guys so much. I could take another 90 people, 90 more people if you send me a copy of your resume to Daniel@dscds.com. Daniel@dscds.com. I'll be more than happy to review your resume for free. Okay, so I just told you how your resume needs to be structured. So name and phone number, summary, captivating headline, summary of accomplishments, areas of expertise, and then starting on page 2, your work history, education, certifications. That's how it needs to be structured. If it's not that way, they're gonna rip it up and throw it in the trash can. Samar, thank you so much for sending your resume. Okay, so now that we have your resume squared away, it's time for you to start applying to jobs. Now remember this, if you don't do this part, it's not gonna work for you either. The environment that we're in for applications is very different than it used to be. In the early 90s, the way we got candidates is you would go to a newspaper, see the ad, call the company, we would answer. We would talk to you over the phone and then schedule you to come in to complete a paper application. And you would bring your resume and you would almost get an offer on the spot. Okay? That's not the case anymore. Okay, it doesn't work like that. Hiring managers think they have a buttload of options because so many people apply to jobs, right? So they can sit behind their computer screen and look at your resume and say no without saying a word to you. You just get a rejection email. Okay? So, how do you apply to jobs so you have an advantage and you don't have to worry about one or two hiring managers? I'm going to tell you how to. I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to tell you right now how you can find tens of thousands of jobs doing exactly what you want to do, remote, hybrid, and on-site. And I'm going to show you how you can apply to those jobs in 21 seconds or less. Okay? I'm going to tell you how to do it. And the reason why I'm going to share this with you is because most people have no idea about how job boards work. They don't. I have a client, and I hear from you all the time, man, there are no open jobs out there. And I say to myself, you have no idea what you're talking about. There's 5.4 million open jobs right now on LinkedIn alone. 5.4 million. Now, half of those jobs are not open. How do I know that? LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, and Indeed.com, they scrape our job sites to put our postings on their sites. They don't take those jobs down until 30 to 60 days after those positions have been closed. So you might be applying to jobs and they're not even open, and you're getting frustrated, and your bills are still coming in, and you don't have a job, or you're in a job that you absolutely hate and don't want to go to and get up and go to every single day. Okay? So how do you change that? How do you give yourself the advantage? I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. You have to learn how to search for jobs like recruiters search for you. Okay? I'm going to show you. So I have a client, his name is Ron, true story. He's on my fast track, 30-day fast track program. My fast track program for 30 days, I'll be that person's personal recruiter. I work with them side by side, and I show them every part of the process, and I walk them through everything like interview preparation, LinkedIn. I even, we go through all of the jobs, all that good stuff, and I prep them for every interview so they can get a job. So Ron has been looking for a job for 8 months. He's a senior sales account manager, director level, okay? He has 30 years experience. He's good, but he couldn't find a job. So he came to me, Dan, I'm frustrated, no jobs open, help. And I said, okay, great. So he signed up for the Fast Track program, and I said to him, first thing we're gonna do is you're gonna show me how you're searching for jobs, okay? And that's what he did. We went to LinkedIn. The same thing is on ZipRecruiter and Indeed.com. We went to LinkedIn. He typed in to the search bar. I said, type in however you search. He typed in his previous job. And I said, don't do anything else. Don't filter by anything else. Click search. And when he clicked search, 5,400 jobs came up. 5,400 jobs. Okay? That's all that came up. And then we started filtering by jobs that were 30 days that have been posted in the last 30 days. We posted by his level, director level. We posted by his pay. After we did all of the filtering that you're supposed to do, we got down to 18 jobs. I said, so this is how you're doing your search? He says, yes. And I said, you're never going to find a job searching like this. I said, so I'm going to show you how I search and how I teach people to search. You have to learn how to search like a recruiter. Okay, so I said, go back to the search bar. I said, type in your job title. And then I said, I want you to take out this word, take out this word, take out that word. I said, I want you to leave just this one word in there. Now click search. 440,000 jobs came up. He said, wow, how did you do that? I said, okay, I'm going to tell you in just a second. And then we did all of the filters again by director level, by $120,000 to $160,000 because that's what he wanted to make. We did it, all of that. And we got it down from 440,000 to like 44,000 jobs that were perfectly matched for what he does, pay, experience level, everything. He says, what did you do different? I said, you do what thousands of clients of mine do. They do the same thing. You search for jobs based on your previous job title. So what you don't know is you're telling LinkedIn, only show me jobs with this job title. Only. You're telling ZipRecruiter and Indeed.com the same thing. And that's what they do. That's why you only had 18 searches that came back that were perfect for you. I said you don't search for jobs based on your job title. You have to search for jobs. Thanks, Julian, for joining the fan club. You have to search for jobs based on a single word job function. That's why I had you put sales in it. Only sales, nothing else. Then you can filter by everything else. That's why we got to 44,000 jobs that are perfect for you. I search by recruiting. I'm a VP director level recruiter. If I put in VP of talent acquisition, there will be hardly no jobs that came back. Hardly any, right? So I put in recruiting. If you're a CFO, you put in finance or accounting. If you're a nurse, a registered nurse, you put in nurse, right? If you're a truck driver, you put trucking. Driver. You don't put in your job title. LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, Indeed.com, they don't know what to do with it. So that's why you don't think any jobs are open. It's because you're searching wrong. Now that I told him, now that we have 44,000 jobs, and by the way, we started sorting by everything. I said, I want you to click easy apply. You're going to submit your application in 21 seconds. It takes you to submit one application, and you're going to do it for 30 jobs per job board. 30 on LinkedIn, 30 on Indeed, 30 on ZipRecruiter. And I said, I'm going to show you how fast it is. I want you to apply to 15 jobs right now. Okay, I said, you're not going to read the job description because we already filtered the job search, so it's perfect for you. It took him 5 minutes to apply to 15 jobs. So it takes 10 minutes to apply to 30 jobs, 10 minutes. If you just spent 30 minutes a day, first thing in the morning, 30 minutes, you'd apply to 90 jobs. If you do that 7 days a week, that's 630 jobs a week. Okay? That's how you're supposed to be searching for jobs. And when we're recruiting for candidates, that's how we search for you. We don't search by job title. We search by single word job function. That is a recruiter secret no one tells you. Okay? That's how we find you. And that's how I find thousands of candidates and send them text messages and emails about an open job that we have and why I have so many candidates to pick from and why we get so many hires fast. When I was in that senior recruiter in the call center, if we had 20 job openings for an upcoming class, I would send you a text message that says we have 100 job openings. and I would get so many applicants. I would send out 4,000 emails through the job board system in 40 minutes. I would get 400 responses and 40 hires in a week. Okay, that's how we do it. So you could do the same thing. You just have to do it in reverse. Search by the single word job function. That is going to get, and you have the right resume. If you have the right resume, when you apply, you will get calls. So Ron's situation was the first week he did that, he didn't get any calls. He just finished his third week. Actually, this is the end of the fourth week now. Second week, he had 4 interviews. Remember, I told you he hadn't gotten an interview in 8 months. Second week, he got 4 interviews. Third week, which was last week, he had 2 final interviews, and last Friday, he had 2 offers. He had been searching for 8 months. I showed him what to do. He had offers in 3 weeks. Okay? Same thing just happened to an operations manager who started the Fast Track program last week. She worked for a large global apparel brand, athletic apparel brand. We did hers on Sunday. She had an interview yesterday. Okay, 3 days later. The average person on the Fast Track program will actually get a job in 22 days or less. So I'm telling you exactly what to do. So that's how you search for jobs. If you don't do that, you're going to be trying to figure out if there are open jobs, and you're going to be applying to jobs that are closed because they're older than 30 days. You just have no idea, right? And that's okay. Email me. I'll help you, right? If you want me to review your resume for free, I could take another, let me see here, 72 people. 72 people if you want me to review your resume for free and reply today to tell you how you can, what needs to be fixed and adjusted. I'll tell you exactly. In my email reply, I'll tell you this is missing. Add this, take this away so you can get more interviews. Email me now, Daniel@dscds.com. Daniel@dscds.com. All right. Now that you got, you applied to a bunch of jobs. Now it's time to interview. This is where so many people blow it. I can't even explain to you how many people blow it doing this. That's because you don't know what the job interview is about. See, you think the job interview is about you having the opportunity to explain to the hiring manager all about your skill, experience, education, and background as proof that you can do their job. It's not. I tell people, don't even talk about your previous work experience. Zip your lip about it. Why? We have your resume already. We already know you can do the job. That matter is settled. Why are you telling us about all of the work you've done in the past when we have your resume? Stop talking about your work experience. That's not what we know, what we're interested in. Okay, well, if Daniel, you're so smart, if it's not about me telling the hiring manager about my work experience and how it relates to how I can be their solution, what is the job interview all about? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to use this example and it'll make so much sense to you. Now, I want you to type in the chat when I ask you. Imagine I come to your city and you and I are having lunch and somebody calls me. Ring, ring. And it's an emergency, right? And I say, oh my goodness, so I'm so sorry. I need to go. Can I borrow your car? Will you let me borrow your car? Type in the chat, yes or no. Can I borrow your car? Will you let me have the keys to your car and borrow your car? Type it in the chat, yes or no. Right? Right? I'm not gonna let you borrow my car. Look, Africa, no. Jeannie says, yes, you're nice. You says no. Max says no. No, you can't borrow my car. Soul Brush, thank you so much. Cynthia, Trail, everybody says no. Mimi says yes. I don't understand why you can't borrow mine. I don't care what the emergency is. I will take you where you want to go, but you can't borrow my car. Here's why. I don't know you. I don't know you. Right? You can't borrow my car. You're not a relative or somebody that I know intimately. So guess what? When you interview, hiring managers are thinking the same thing. I'm not about to give you this job. I don't know you. Let me ask you some questions to see. Laura says the liability. That's correct. Hiring managers don't know if you're going to be a liability or not, so they have to ask you interview questions to find out if you are or not. That is what the job interview is about. Telling them all about your previous experience does not tell them if you are going to be someone they can trust, depend on, and rely on. See, when I ask you to borrow your car, I have a driver's license. That should be proof enough. No, it isn't. That's my car, okay? I don't know you. I don't care about your driver's license. I don't know your driving record. I don't know any of that. So no, you can't borrow my car. Where would you like to go? Hiring managers are saying the same thing. I'm not about to hire you. I'm not going to just give you this job. I don't know you. I've been asked to hire someone for this job who I can trust to do the job. I don't know you. Let me talk to you first. That's what the job interview is about. Okay? So stop beating your chest about all of the great things you've done in the past. It's irrelevant. We already know you can do it. That's over. So, what is the hiring manager looking for? There's 3 things they're trying to find out about you. Can I trust this person? Are they reliable? And are they dependable enough for me to give them the keys to this job? Okay? Now watch this. When they interview you, here are some non-behavior based questions they're going to ask you. Type in the chat if you've ever gotten this question. First question right out of the gate. Thank you so much for coming. Tell me about yourself. Type yes in the chat if you've ever gotten that question. Type yes, right? yeah, Troy, yep, right? Everybody's saying yes, yes, yes. Africa, yes. Yvette, yes. Trove, yes. Everybody's saying yes. Everybody asks you, tell me about yourself. And Inger, yes. Be more, yes. And what happens? You start talking about your work experience and all of the things you've done in the past and all of the stuff you've done, and that's not what they're asking. They're saying, tell me about yourself. Tell me about your character. What kind of person are you? That's what they're asking. So this is how I tell people to answer that question. You are going to pick your 4 top character traits. Hardworking, committed, loyal, team player, right? You're going to list those 4 character traits, and that's what you're going to tell them. And you're also going to add, and I'm someone you'll never have to worry about getting this job done. So the way I answer, tell me about yourself is, thank you so much for the question. Here's what you need to know about me. I'm a hardworking, committed, loyal team player who values team success far above individual success. And I'm someone you'll never have to worry about whether this job gets done or not. That's what you need to know about me. And then I sit back and wait for the next question. They're trying to see if you will ramble, if you are going to talk about something that's irrelevant, your cat's shoes, your dog's ankle bracelet, your duck's neck chain. That's not what they're asking. So you don't talk about your previous work experience or things in your personal life. Your professional character is what they want to know. So that's how you answer it. Tell me if you ever got this question. The second question right out of the gate. We're trying to see if you're risky, if this is a risky hire. Remember, we have your resume, so we know if you're working or not. So let's say you currently have a job. They're looking at your resume and saying, okay, I see you're working. Why are you looking to leave your current job? Type yes in the chat if you've ever gotten that question. Type yes if you've ever gotten that question. Why are you looking to leave your current job? Right? Look, Mia, yes. Jason, yes. Troy, yes. Shonda, yes. Everybody saying yes? And yes, yes. Everybody saying yes. Here's why we're asking that question. We want to know if your reason for wanting to leave your current job is petty. Is it risky? Well, I want to leave my current job because I didn't like the way my hiring manager talked to me. I want to leave my current job because I don't like the way they treat me. Watch this one. Listen, I'm looking to leave my current job because I'm looking for more growth. Never say that. I'm looking for a new job because I'm looking for a better opportunity. Never say that. That says to the hiring manager, you're flighty, you're risky. Because the moment a new opportunity, if I hire you, the moment a new opportunity comes up, you're going to leave me the same way. You don't answer it like that. What should you say? The company that I currently work for is a pretty good company. However, my goals and values, they no longer align with that company. I believe they align more here. I've done my research. They align here. Now, what if you're not working? You're out of work. You've left your last company, and they ask you, why did you leave your last company? You simply say 2 words. I was laid off. That's it. Now, we know in HR, laid off means a lot of things. Mergers and acquisition, company close, termination. It can mean a lot of things. We don't question it. Okay? You don't want to tell them you were terminated. That shows you're too much of a risk. If they fired you, I'm probably going to fire you too. You don't say it. Say, I was laid off. That's it. Okay? That's it. Don't say anything else. Because we're trying to assess risk. Now, the next question they're going to ask you, is, okay, I see you worked over there. Why do you want to work here? Type yes in the chat if you've ever gotten that question. Why do you want to work here? Right? Right? Why do you want to work here? I'm gonna see yes. Caroline, yes. Big, yes. Shonda, yes. Troy, yes. Native, yes. They're saying, why do you want to work here? This is what they're trying to figure out. What is your underlying motivation and reason for wanting to work here? I advise giving one answer only. You say, I've done my research and you guys are the best and I want to work for the best. That shows your motivation is good. You can't say, I'm looking for a new opportunity. I want to work here because I think the environment is better. Hiring managers are thinking, well, if you think that about that place, you're probably going to do the same thing here. Okay, so you don't want to do that. Remember, if you want me to do a free resume review, I'll review your resume for free. I can take 57 more people, right? Yolanda, Ashley, Miko, Kimoy, Desmonique, Olivia, Takesha, I see your resumes. I'm gonna review your resume for free today, and I'll respond back to it and let you know what needs to be changed, tweaked, added, or subtracted today. I want you to get more interviews, okay? So you can get more job offers. And if you keep submitting your resume the way it is right now, stinking up those job boards, no one's gonna call you. I'm just being honest with you. All right, so now after they ask you these 3 behavior-based questions, they are going to ask 3 non-behavior-based questions. They're gonna ask you behavior-based questions. Now listen to me. Why do companies ask behavior-based questions? I'm gonna tell you why in just a second, but I'm gonna show you how to use the STAR interview answer framework in a way that no one else will tell you. I have a guide that I'm completing that explains what I'm about to tell you. It's not available for purchase yet, but no one else will tell you how to do it this way. STAR stands for situation, task, action, result. Situation, task, action, result. That's the STAR behavior-based interview answer framework. Now, most people will tell you answer interview questions using the STAR interview answer framework, but they won't tell you a systematic way to use STAR. I'm going to tell you that systematic way. Here's how you do it. When we ask behavior-based questions, we are trying to predict your future behavior. We're trying to assess if you can be trusted to do the job successfully in a real situation. And we're trying to reduce our higher risk. That's why we're asking you these behavior. How are you going to act? Right? That's what we're trying to find out. So we ask you 3 questions, usually 3 behavior-based questions. One centered around how you deal with challenging people. So that could be customers, clients, coworkers, managers. How you deal with challenging problems that arise, big problems in an organization. Or how do you deal with ever-changing processes that change in the organization? So they'll say something like this. Talk to me about a time you had to deal with a difficult coworker. What was the situation and how did you resolve it? We're at 6,700 likes. Keep tapping the screen. Let's get to 12,000. It'll take us 20 seconds to get to 12,000 if everyone tapped the screen 30 times. It takes about, you can tap the screen 3 times a second, about 3 times a second. So if everybody tap the screen, we'll get there pretty quickly. All right, check this out. So STAR stands for situation, task, action, result. This is how you use it. Now listen to me very closely. You are going to call out each acronym before you give your response. Let me say that again. Call out the acronym before the response. So it'll sound like this. The situation was, I had a coworker who was working with me on a project and they were being very uncooperative. My task was to bring everyone together and try to understand what the problem this person was having with the process that we were going through. The action I took was to have a sit down with this person and our manager about the challenges. And after the meeting, the result was this person fell in line and we were able to deliver the project before schedule. That's how you use STAR. No one tells you to use it that way. They just tell you to try to go off the top of your head. That never works. You're in a situation, you're talking to a hiring manager, it's high stakes, and you're trying to remember what to say. This is how you remember what to say. That's how you answer STAR-based questions. Now, if you are a leader, supervisor, manager, leader, director, VP, C-level executive, you're going to get a minimum of 2 additional questions. Okay? One will be, what is your leadership style? Don't get fancy. The only thing we're looking for is to see if you want someone who values accountability. Okay, so I always say, well, I'm a big accountability guy. I'll hold myself accountable and to a high standard, and I hold my team accountable and to a high standard. So my style would be accountability. Every hiring manager wants to hear that because they want to know they don't have to worry about you. Okay? All right. And then this question is what they're going to ask you as a leader. Listen, this is very important. You got to get this right. They're going to say, how would you handle someone who is on your team who is consistently performing below expectations? How would you handle it? Now, don't get fancy and talk about how you helped Bob, Scott, and Beth to improve their performance. We're not looking for that. What we want to know is, what actions would you take? A simple answer is, if I have somebody on my team who is consistently underperforming, not meeting expectations on a consistent basis, I will follow the progressive disciplinary policy of the company. So that's verbal coaching and counseling. The second one is written coaching and counseling. Third and final, coaching and counseling. And if that doesn't improve, termination. That's what we want to hear. All right? Now, after they ask you all these interview questions, and they're like, yes, this person is on it, because you've answered their questions the way they want. The next thing they're going to do is start talking to you about the job and all of the challenges they currently have in the job and what they want somebody to fix. Do not start relating what you did in your past to what they're talking about, because that's not what they want you to do. They just want you to listen. Okay? Don't start talking. Yeah, I did that in the past and this is what happened. No, don't do that. You become less likable. Situations don't compare. Different environment, different company, different people. So you just want to say, that sounds very familiar to me. I have experienced that in the past. I will make sure that that problem is solved here. Yes, I experienced that before. That sounds very familiar. I will make sure that problem does not happen here, right? They just want you to listen. And then at the end, they're going to say, okay, that's all I have to share. Now listen, this is where so many people blow it. Then they're going to ask you, and type in the chat if you've ever gotten this question, yes or no. They've said everything, and then they're going to say to you, okay, do you have any questions for me? Type yes or no in the chat if you've ever gotten that question. in an interview. Do you have any questions for me? She says, oh my God, yes. Yes. Everybody's saying yes, Mac, yes, Big, yes. Everybody's saying yes. What are they really asking you? Are they asking you to ask them questions? No, they're not. Now, what you think is this is your big chance to seal the deal, to tell them, ask them questions that show you're interested and that you're locked in and that you want this job. No, it's not. The more questions you ask, and especially if they don't have the answers to them, the less they like you. Okay? It will be like me asking my wife about all of the features and benefits of her truck. How many cylinders does it have? How many horsepower? What's the torque on this and what is the torque on that? And what kind of fuse? My wife would be like, man, get out of my car, right? What's my point? You don't ask questions in an interview. That does not make you look more interested. We already know you know how to do the job. We are already convinced when we get to this point, we're already convinced that you are the right fit for the job. So there's only one question you should ask. One. And the reason why I tell people to ask this one question, because you should never walk away from an interview table and not know if you are going to get an offer or not. You should always know, and I'm going to tell you how. Okay? When you are at the end of the interview and they say, do you have any questions for me? You say, wow, I have learned so much doing this interview. Thank you for this interview. I do have one question. When would you like for me to get started? Now, why do I tell you to ask that question? Because you're listening for the response of the hiring manager to tell you whether or not they are going to make you an offer. Run to my office and say, Daniel, I want to make that person an offer. If they respond like this, well, tell me if you've ever heard this before. Well, we do have several other candidates that we need to interview. And once we have interviewed all of the candidates, then we will decide who we're going to bring in. Tell me if you've ever heard that before in an interview. Type yes in the chat if you've ever heard it. Okay? Oh, yes, Mac, yes. If you hear that from a hiring manager, Troy, Dre, Fish, Tove, 66, if you ever hear that in an interview, they do not want to make you an offer. They don't like you. Okay? Ange, Eat Nola, Vanilla says yes. They don't like you. They don't want you. They're telling you, I'm not going to pick you. Okay? So you can move on. When you walk out of that office, keep looking. There's nothing you can say to change their minds. It's over. Okay? Now, if they respond like this, then there's a 99.9999% chance you're going to get an offer. If they say, oh, okay, well, here are what the next steps are. Someone from HR is going to call you. They're going to talk to you about background check, finishing your application, all of the new hire paperwork. Then we need to get your background check done. Then we have our new hire orientation on this day, and we want somebody to start on this day. Can you start on April 1st? If they respond like that, then they're saying to you, I'm going to go back to HR and tell them I want to make this person an offer. So they run to my office and say, Daniel, thank you so much for introducing me to this person. I am very interested in making this person an offer. Can you reach out to them? And that's what I do. Okay? So now we're at the offer. How can you get more money from every offer? I'm going to show you how to get $2,000 to $10,000 right now. So listen very carefully. So I call you and say, hey, how was the interview? You tell me it was great. Good. If we made you an offer, would you accept? Yes. And I say, okay, great. Because the hiring manager just came to my office and asked me to make you an offer. And then I say this. I say this to everybody. Every candidate. I don't care if you're a $10 an hour person or a $500,000 person. I don't care. I say the same thing. I say, okay, when you and I originally talked, let's say the job pays $90,000 to $100,000, just to keep it simple. I said, when you and I originally talked, we talked about 95 is something you'll accept, right? You say yes. And I said, okay, when I submitted your information to the hiring manager, I told them you're at 95. Now I'm going to tell them you want 98. Is that okay? And of course, you're going to say yes. And I say, great. Let me talk to them and I'll reach out to you. So I go to the hiring manager and say, hey, I just finished talking to the person. They are very interested in the offer and they were wondering if we're able to go to 98. Is that possible? Right? The hiring manager, if they can make the decision right there on the spot, they would tell me yes. A lot of times, half of the times, they have to go back to their manager, a director, a VP, and they say, hey, I just interviewed this person. I think they're a perfect fit for our team. They're awesome. My goodness, they're perfect, right? They want 98. Can I do that? And the director or VP will ask this question: do you think they're worth it? If the hiring manager says yes, which they are, they're going to run back to my office and say 98 is good, Dan. So I'm going to call you back and say, hey, so I got you 98. If I send you this offer right now, will you e-sign it and send it back to me? And you say, yeah. So I do that. You just won because you got $3,000 more than you expected. The hiring manager feels like they won because they got someone they wanted and it's less than the max. And I feel like I've won because I get to take this job off of my job board. Okay? And I get the report that it was filled. All right? How can you do the exact same thing? This is how you do it. Every job offer we push out, written job offer, not verbal, we give candidates 3 days to make a decision. So when I send you the offer, when you get an offer for somebody, you are not going to do anything for 24 hours. You're going to wait. Okay? That second day, you're going to send this email. You're going to say, thank you very much for this offer. By the way, I could take another 40 people free resume review. 40 people, I'll review your resume for free. Daniel at dscds.com. Daniel at dscds.com. I'll review your resume for free and tell you if it needs to be fixed so you can get more interviews and higher paying offers in 30 days or less. Okay, so this is the email. You're going to say, thank you very much for this offer. I'm very excited to get started with the team. I was wondering if the company is able to go to whatever the new number is, 98,000, 118,000, 62,000, doesn't matter. I was wondering if the company is able to go to whatever that new number is. Thank you again. I look forward to getting started with the team. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. 110, you send it through email. Hey, 110, pin the email. Daniel, it's Daniel at dscds.com. It's above my head. That's why I have it there. Daniel at dscds.com. So check this out. I'm going to say the message again. You say, thank you very much for this offer. I'm very excited to get started with the team. I was wondering if the company is able to go to whatever the new number is. Thank you very much. I can't wait to get started. Okay, that's how you answer. That's how you send an email back. And then you wait. Well, that email comes back to me. And I then go to the hiring manager, tell the hiring manager, get you the offer, and then we move you forward. Okay, that's how it works. I've been doing that for 25 years for every single candidate that I submit for every job that I worked on. Everyone. Javon, thank you so much for sending your resume. So I have Jasmine, Maria, Sim, OJ, Weatherly, Keno. I got your resume. Okay. So I can take another 40 people. If you want me to review your resume for free, I'll review your resume for free. Now we're about to open it up for questions and answers, but I want you to take 15 seconds just to tap the screen for like. Here's what we discovered, uncovered, or just covered. So we talked about this is about how you can find and get a job, land a higher paying job, making more money than you currently making or that you've ever made in your career. This is about you getting that job in 30 days or less. This works. It's what I do with every client. Okay. We talked about resumes, what the resume is, what the resume is not. Okay. And how to position your resume to be to answer the questions that hiring managers are asking before they even talk to you. We talked about how to find tens of thousands of jobs that you can apply to in seconds. on LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, and Indeed.com. The right way, so you're not applying to jobs that are already closed, okay? We talked about job interviewing. What the job interview is really all about and what it's not about, what hiring managers are really, really trying to understand about you. We talked about that. And then we talked about how you can easily get a higher paying offer, $2,000 to $10,000 more from every single offer that you get. Now, here's the deal. The reason why things don't change in people's lives, it's not because they don't have the information. I just gave you the information. The reason why things don't change is because people fail to take action using the information they have. Don't let that be you. You're getting free game here. If you want to be making more money in the next 30 days, get a higher paying job offer written on the table, all you got to do is the 4 things that I just talked about, right? Now, it all starts with your resume. You could do anything you want, but if you don't fix that, you're not gonna win. Okay, that is the beginning of everything. You know you want this higher paying job. You know you want your career to change. You know you want to make more money. You know the job that you're in right now is a dead end and they don't like you or whatever. They're just not going to give you a promotion. And you have the opportunity. You have the opportunity to get another job that pays you a lot more money. That's a lot less stressful. You got to take action. Nothing's going to change. It's not. You can keep on doing the same thing. You're going to keep getting the same results. 34 more people, I'll take your resume. So you got to take action. If you don't take action, nothing else is going to happen. Okay, all right, check it out. If you have a question, leave it in the chat. I will answer that question for you. Leave it in the chat. I'll answer the question for you. Okay? All right. And I guess it's Anna. Steph says, I need help with my resume. I think it's what's causing my denial. If you are submitting your resume to jobs and no one's calling you back, your resume is the issue and you need to fix it. Okay? I redid my resume twice. You can redo the resume, but here's the thing. I try to tell you what the resume needs to look like when you send it to me so you know exactly what to do. Pablo says, what if you have gaps on your resume? No one cares about gaps. We only care about the work you've done, the solution you've solved for others as proof. We'll ask about the gaps in the interview, but what I typically tell people when they have gaps in their employment is somebody will say, like I told Ron, they asked him, why have you not been working for 8 months? Now, he can't tell them because I wasn't able to find a job. You can't say that. Even though that's the case, you simply say, I have been looking for work, but I have been unable to find a company I wanted to join until now. That's how you handle gaps. Okay? All right. Again, you said you redid your resume twice, and if you redid your resume twice and you're still not getting responses, it's because you're not showing hiring managers what they want to see. Miss Queen says, I struggle with answering interview questions. I do have an interview cheat sheet. It's the top 50 interview questions and answers cheat sheet. You can grab that from the store if you want. You can either go to the website or click the link in my bio. You can grab that too. Okay. Rex says, hi, Dan. I just joined the live. I missed the first part. Are you going to save this live? Yes, I'll repost it. Stone says, how do you help upcoming graduates without experience beyond retail with a master's? Very good question. Okay, so if you're a college grad and you are trying to break into the industry, okay, your coursework that you've learned gives you information to solve a problem. When you are creating a resume, you have to create a resume to highlight your ability to solve the problem through the coursework that you've done. New graduates, whenever I speak at college campuses, this is what I tell them. New graduates, you must show how you are the answer to a hiring manager's problem if you want to break into that company. No one's just going to give you a chance. It ain't charity work. They're paying you to do the job. So you have to position your resume correctly. Should I tailor each resume to each job? I get this almost every single live, and the answer unequivocally is no, you should never do that. If we see that you have multiple resumes, it is a red flag. We don't like it. Okay? Someone says, I feel like my barrier is age discrimination. It is not age discrimination. That is only a barrier in your own brain. It is not age discrimination. You are failing to show people that you could solve a problem at the level of your experience. If you're 75 years old and you're trying to apply for a retail job, you're probably going to get rejected, not because you're 75, but because they want someone who is younger for whatever reason, right? They just think that, here's what they're thinking. If we hire this 75-year-old or the 60-year-old CEO, let's just hypothetically say you're a CEO and you apply to a retail position. They're thinking the moment a CEO position comes along, they're going to leave us. That's why it feels like age discrimination, but they're thinking you're overqualified for this job. And if I give you this job, then something else comes along that fits you better, you're going to leave me. That's what they're thinking. Okay. So don't think about it from an age discrimination perspective. Okay. If you have a question, you can leave it in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer those questions for you. My son is having a hard time. 2024 IT degree. Vanilla, send me an email. First of all, I need to see your son's resume, because I can tell you right now, your son's probably not answering the question of hiring managers and recruiters. And so because of that, no one's going to call him. That's important. I tell college grads this all the time whenever I go and do college grads. Okay. No age discrimination, experience, diligence to complete jobs, trust. That's exactly correct, Mar. All right. All right, let me see here. Okay, all right, let me see. You got more questions here, a bunch more questions I can answer. What is your website? I don't see a link in your bio. It's dscds.com, www.dscds.com. How helpful is it to email the hiring manager after submitting a resume? You only email the hiring manager once you get the interview. It is a waste of time to reach out to a hiring manager once you submitted a resume. They may not have even seen it, and they may be going through their HR department and recruiting. How do our resumes pass the applicant tracking system? Very good question. I manage the largest applicant tracking system on the planet. I know what applicant tracking systems want and what they don't want. Okay. All right. So I know how they're designed. I design them. Whenever we change out applicant tracking systems, I'm the one that designs the back end. I am responsible for the entire front end of the hire cycle. How jobs are created in the applicant tracking system and connect to our career site. How applicants are able to come into the applicant tracking system through a job board or through our website. How applications are processed. How requisitions are created. I do all of that. I'm the admin on every applicant tracking system for every company that I work for. Okay. Do you follow up after interview? Do following up after interview helps? No. The reason why I tell you to ask that one last question is because after you finish an interview, hiring managers know within 30 minutes following an interview if they want to make you an offer. If they don't say one of the two things that I just said about, if they say to you, well, we got other people to interview, they're probably not going to hire you. Okay. Do cover letters matter anymore? Not really. It's a nice thing to have. Yeah, let me say this. It depends on the job. So yes, cover letters are good. Here's why. So let's say a hiring manager interviews you. So we have your resume, right? We know we want to interview you. Sending a cover letter gives them a kind of a bit of a more detailed explanation of who you are and what solution you're going to be able to bring to the table. It's a good introduction. So yes, depending on the position. Okay. Do you assist if we retain you to help find jobs? The answer to that question, SS, is yes. I don't have a retainer. I have a 30-day fast track program. On my 30-day fast track program, I walk you through every step of finding a job in 30 days or less, to include taking care of your resume, LinkedIn profile, showing you where to find jobs, teaching you how to apply, and meeting with you every single week and prepping you before every interview. That's why people have so much success. Anyway, yes, I'll help you with that. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining the live. I appreciate it. Remember, I can take another 20. That's 22. So Michaela, Dare, Janelle, Dominique, Lizette, Carline, I see your resumes. I can take another 20 people. If you want me to review your resume for free, if you're not getting interviews, you're submitting applications, but you're not getting interviews, and you think that there may be something wrong with your resume, or you just want a health check of your resume, email it to me. I'll tell you. I can take 20 more people, and I'm going to respond today. All right? Thank you so much for joining the live. I look forward to talking to you guys the next time.